Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're tackling a topic that's, well, really heating up. AgentOps. You're hearing so much about these autonomous AI agents, right? Software that basically thinks and acts on its own.
Exactly.
And businesses are starting to use them for all sorts of things. Customer service, workflow optimization, you name it.
Yeah, they're popping up everywhere.
But it makes you wonder, who's actually managing these things? How do we make sure they're, doing what they're supposed to?
And that's precisely where AgentOps comes in, agent operations.
Okay.
It's really the framework, the set of practices for managing, monitoring, basically getting the most out of these agents, especially as you start using more and more of them.
So it's kind of like DevOps for software or MLOps for machine learning, that kind of structure.
That's a great analogy, yeah. It brings that necessary structure, that order, to what can be a pretty fluid AI environment.
Because these AI agents, they're not like regular software, are they? A normal program just follows the script.
Right, step by step.
But these agents, they reason, they make choices, they adapt.
Yeah.
Sometimes they even work together. That sounds like it could get messy fast without good management.
Oh, it absolutely can. That autonomy, that ability to act independently, that's the core challenge AgentOps is designed to handle. See, unlike code that just sits there, AI agents learn, they evolve, their behavior can change.
So they're less predictable.
Definitely less predictable. And they interact with data, with tools, sometimes in ways you didn't quite expect. So without a proper, deliberate approach, well, you could end up with decisions that are hard to explain.
Right, or hard to control.
Exactly. And potentially problematic, maybe compliance issues or unintended side effects.
Okay, so for you listening in, our mission today is really to get under the hood of AgentOps. We want to unpack what it is, why it matters if you're even thinking about using AI agents.
Or already are.
Or already are, yeah. And we'll break down the key pieces you need for an effective AgentOps strategy.
Exactly. By the end of this, you should have a really clear picture of why AgentOps isn't just, some trendy term.
Right.
It's quickly becoming fundamental, the bedrock, really, for using AI agents responsibly and, importantly, at scale.
All right, let's get down to brass tacks then. What does AgentOps actually look like? What are we talking about in practice?
Fundamentally, it's about managing these AI agents through their entire life. Everything.
The whole life cycle.
The whole life cycle. It's not just, launching them and hoping for the best.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, none of that. It's a holistic strategy. It's about making sure they're reliable, that you can understand what they're doing, transparency, and that you have effective control, governance.
Okay, so end-to-end life cycle. What stages are we talking about?
It covers everything, from the initial idea, the design, building the agent, all the way through deploying it, running it day to day, maintaining it, and then improving it over time, or even eventually retiring it when it's done its job.
So it's proactive, not just reactive when something goes wrong.
Absolutely. Very proactive. Think about the actual activities involved. You're keeping track of different versions, version control for the agent's code, but also for the prompts, the instructions you give it.
Okay.
You're constantly monitoring its performance in real time. How's it doing? You need detailed logs of its reasoning. Why did it make that choice?
The why behind it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Enforcing rules, we call them guardrails, to keep its behavior in bounds.
Like setting boundaries.
And then that continuous loop of updating it, refining it based on performance, new data, new requirements.
That paints a much clearer picture. So why is this suddenly so strategically vital? We've had software ML models for a while.
Right.
What's so different about these agents?
It really comes back to that autonomy we mentioned.
Right.
Agents can figure things out, execute tasks, without needing a human to explicitly tell them every single step. And that introduces some unique hurdles. One is unpredictable decision-making. An agent might do something, and without AgentOps, trying to figure out the logic behind it, it can be a real black box. Makes trust difficult, troubleshooting a nightmare.
Yeah, you can't just step through the code line by line like you normally would.
Exactly. Another big one is inconsistent behavior. An agent might work perfectly one time, and then in a situation that looks almost identical, it messes up. Maybe because of some tiny change in the context, it didn't handle well.
And that kills user confidence pretty fast, I imagine.
Instantly. If you can't rely on it, you won't use it. And then there's the whole oversight issue. If agents are just running free, they could potentially violate compliance rules, misuse data, cause real problems if their actions aren't guided. The key thing is that power of autonomy. It demands this kind of structured operational discipline.
Those sound like serious risks. Have we seen this play out, like a real-world example where not having AgentOps caused problem?
Oh, absolutely. There's a good case study of a large company. They rolled out a bunch of different AI agents across various departments,
Okay.
but they did it without any real central management, no AgentOps strategy.
And let me guess. Chaos.
Pretty much, yeah. It got chaotic. They had agents doing the same work,
Yeah.
duplicating efforts because nobody knew what the others were doing.
Wasting resources.
Totally. They were getting conflicting recommendations from different agents. Some agents were retraining themselves constantly, which was just hammering their compute resources.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem, they had almost zero visibility into why the agents were doing what they were doing. No explainability.
Wow, that sounds like a perfect storm of inefficiency and confusion.
It really was. It's like launching software without DevOps, but maybe even worse because of the agent's ability to act on their own.
But there's a good ending to this story, I hope.
There is, thankfully. Once they figured out what was going on, they implemented a proper AgentOps framework focused on governance, coordination, observability.
What happened?
The results were pretty dramatic. They saw a 40% reduction in that redundant agent activity.
8%, that's huge.
It is. They could diagnose problems way faster. And crucially, trust in the AI's output went way up across the company.
And 40% really drives it home. That's a tangible benefit.
Definitely. It shows how AgentOps can take this, potentially scattered group of AIs and turn them into a coordinated, effective team.
Yeah.
Digital colleagues, some people call them.
Mm-hmm.
So the main takeaway for you listening is that if you're serious about using AI agents, especially at scale, AgentOps isn't really optional. It's essential. It brings that order, that efficiency.
Okay, that makes sense. We know what it is, why it's critical. Let's dig into the details now. What are the core capabilities? What does a good AgentOps framework actually include?
Yeah, good question. There are basically 4 main pillars or core capabilities you need to think about.
Okay.
Observability, lifecycle management, orchestration, and then guardrails and governance.
4 pillars.
Yeah.
Got it.
And they all kind of work together, right? To make sure your agents are working well, staying under control, and getting better over time.
Let's start with observability. That sounds like it's all about visibility, right? Seeing what the agents are up to.
Exactly. Observability is job number 1, really. It's the foundation. It gives you that detailed, real-time insight you absolutely need to understand what your agent is doing and ultimately to trust it.
So how do you get that insight?
In practice, it means really comprehensive logging, monitoring, tracing, everything the agent does. It lets you answer those key questions.
Okay.
What exactly did it do? Why did it pick that tool or say that thing? What data did it look at?
Without it, you're just guessing.
Pretty much flying blind, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like having a flight data recorder for your AI.
Okay, that's a helpful image.
So key parts of observability are things like detailed event logs and traces. These capture every significant step the agent takes its reasoning process with timestamps, context, everything you need to reconstruct what happened.
So you can replay the situation.
Exactly. Some tools, like Langsmith or AgentOps.ai, even have session replay features. You can literally watch the agent's steps again to find the problem. The goal is turning that black box into more of a glass box.
Yeah, that sounds incredibly useful for debugging.
Hugely.
Sure.
Then you've got metrics and performance monitoring. This is more about the numbers. Response times, how often tasks succeed or fail, error rates, how much compute it's using.
Quantitative stuff.
Right. You put that on dashboards, set up alerts, so you can spot problems quickly, like if an agent's error rate suddenly jumps.
Makes sense.
Decision path logging is also super important. This records the intermediate steps, the agent's thought process, like chain of thought in an LLM, and what triggered specific actions. This is vital for explaining why it did something.
Explainability, if someone asks.
Precisely. And if you have multiple agents working together, observability needs to capture how they communicate, the messages they exchange.
So the goal is really to move away from guesswork and have a clear, auditable record of everything.
That's it, exactly. Without good observability, trying to fix problems with AI agents can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. It builds confidence and makes resolving issues so much faster. And it's worth mentioning, many platforms now offer LLM native observability, meaning they're specifically built to capture the prompts going into the language models and the outputs coming back out. That gives you deeper insight than just standard application monitoring. The end goal. Every action has a clear what and why recorded.
Okay, observability is clear. Pillar number 2 was lifecycle management.
Right. Lifecycle management in AgentOps. It's about managing the agent through its entire existence, from cradle to grave, basically.
Oh.
It means having structured processes for all the different phases, building it, testing it, deploying it, evaluating it, improving it. It borrows heavily from DevOps and MLOps principles.
So again, much more than just launch and forget.
Way more. It starts with design and prototyping. You define clear goals, what success looks like, and you test early versions in safe environments, sandboxes. Then, version control and change management. You track every version of the agent's code, its configuration, even the prompts. This is crucial for reproducibility.
So you can go back if needed.
Exactly. And for doing things like A/B testing different versions safely. Then there's deployment and integration, actually getting the agent out into the production environment. Often uses things like containers, automated pipelines, CI/CD.
Standard DevOps stuff applied here.
Pretty much. And testing and validation is even more critical with agents, like you said.
Yeah, because they're unpredictable.
Right. So you need systematic testing. Simulations of real-world scenarios, specific tests for different skills, maybe benchmarking against standards, usually done in a staging environment that mimics production.
Okay.
Then comes continuous feedback and learning. This is where observability feeds back in. You use the performance data, maybe user feedback, to make the agent better.
Pranking prompts, maybe retraining.
Exactly. Refining prompts, adjusting policies, maybe retraining the model. Optimization is key here. And finally, maintenance and retirement. Updating agents when things change and properly taking them offline when they're no longer needed.
So the core idea here is treating these agents like evolving products, needing constant attention.
That's a perfect way to put it. Applying those proven lifecycle principles ensures they stay effective, reliable, and auditable over the long haul.
All right. Pillar 3, orchestration. What's that about?
Orchestration becomes really important as soon as you have more than one agent.
Okay.
It's all about coordinating how multiple agents work together and how they fit into your bigger business workflows, instead of just having individual agents doing their own thing.
In silos.
Yeah, in silos. Orchestration is the layer that manages how they collaborate, how they interact with other systems, even with people. IBM calls it coordinating specialized agents to achieve shared goals.
So you mentioned the symphony analogy earlier.
Yeah.
Conducting the orchestra.
That's exactly it. It's making sure all the different instruments or agents are playing together harmoniously.
So what does that involve, practically?
Several things. Task scheduling and assignment, the orchestration system, figures out which agent is best suited for a new task and sends it there.
Like a smart dispatcher.
Right. Workflow management lets you define sequences. Agent A does its thing, its output goes to Agent B, then maybe to a human for approval.
Connecting the dots.
Precisely. Inter-agent communication allows agents to talk directly to each other, share information. Frameworks like Autogen or Crew AI help with this. Then there's prioritization and conflict resolution, making sure important tasks get done first, and stopping agents from stepping on each other's toes or doing contradictory things.
Yeah, preventing that chaos we talked about earlier seems crucial here.
Absolutely. Orchestration also handles scalability management, spinning up more agent instances when demand is high, scaling back down when it's quiet, just like cloud orchestration.
Resource management.
And finally, integration with business processes. Connecting the agent's work back into existing human workflows or older IT systems. Maybe an agent drafts something, but a human has to approve it.
Got it.
And there are different ways to do orchestration. Sometimes a central master agent directs others. Sometimes it's more decentralized, peer-to-peer. Depends on the situation.
Okay.
But the main goal is always to make these individual agents work together as a cohesive system to tackle more complex problems than any single agent could handle alone.
Makes sense. And the fourth pillar, the final one, is guardrails and governance. Sounds like the safety net.
Exactly. This is probably the most critical one from a risk perspective.
Yeah.
Guardrails are the rules, the policies, the automated checks you put in place to make sure agents operate safely, ethically, and within compliance rules.
Setting the boundaries.
Setting the boundaries, yeah. Embedding constraints so they don't go rogue or violate important rules. Someone defined it as ensuring safe, ethical, and compliant operations by enforcing standards, compliance, technical protections, enhancing transparency, mitigating errors, safeguarding against bias, and protecting data. The core idea is balancing that autonomy with necessary control.
So what do these guardrails actually look like? How do you implement them?
It starts with clear policy definition. What are agents allowed to do? What are they not allowed to do? Covering ethics, business rules, regulations.
The rule book.
The rule book. Then access control and permissions are vital. Principle of least privilege, give agents only the access they absolutely need. Limits the blast radius if something goes wrong.
Makes sense.
You need governance and oversight mechanisms, clear human owners, accountability, plus automated systems that watch aging behavior and can step in if needed.
Human oversight.
Absolutely. Real-time validation and constraints are important too. Programmatically checking agent outputs or decisions against rules, like only allowing certain commands, filtering prompts.
Like input-output filtering.
Yeah, exactly. There are open source libraries for this now. Then, monitoring for misbehavior, automatically detecting weird activity or actions that violate policies.
Anomaly detection for agents.
Kind of, yeah. Auditability and traceability are essential, recording all the key decisions and actions for compliance, for incident reviews.
Logging everything.
Everything important, and critically, fail-safes and human in the loop. For really high-stakes decisions, or when an agent isn't sure, you need a human to review or approve before it acts.
So it's a constant balancing act, giving them freedom but keeping control.
It really is. You want the benefits of autonomy, but you can't just let them run completely free. As one source put it, agents can take harmful actions, and tracing what they did can be daunting without strong governance.
Right.
So tools are emerging specifically for AI governance, applying these checks throughout the life cycle. Ultimately, yeah, agents might be driving, but humans set the destination and the rules of the road.
This all sounds pretty advanced. Are there tools out there now that help companies do all this? Platforms?
Yes, definitely. The market's moving really fast here. We're seeing a whole ecosystem of tools popping up. You can kind of categorize them. For actually building agents and orchestrating them, you've got things like AutoGen, LangChain. For that crucial observability and debugging piece, Langsmith and AgentOps.ai are big names.
We mentioned those.
Yeah. For evaluation and testing, tools like OpenAI Evals, and again, Langsmith is used here too. And then for security and governance, you're seeing things like IBM's WatsonX.governance and various open source guardrail libraries. The tooling is definitely catching up to the need.
Could you just give us a quick flavor of maybe Langsmith and AgentOps.ai again? What's their specific angle?
Sure. Langsmith, coming from the LangChain folks, is really strong on that LLM native observability.
Right, seeing inside the LLM.
Exactly. It lets you trace step by step what your language model agent did, look at the prompts, the responses, figure out where things went wrong. Super powerful for debugging those kinds of agents.
Okay. And AgentOps.ai.
AgentOps.ai is positioning itself more as that unified platform for AgentOps, trying to cover the whole spectrum: building, observing, managing, regardless of what framework you use to build the agent. They're kind of aiming to be the Datadog or New Relic specifically for AI agents, comprehensive visibility, debugging, even cost tracking.
So a broader, more integrated management layer.
That seems to be the goal, yeah. And these are just two examples. There are others emerging from cloud providers, established software companies. The point is, the industry recognizes the need for specialized tools here.
Okay, so investing time and maybe money in AgentOps seems like a smart move. But what's the payoff? What's the actual ROI organizations can expect?
Oh, the benefits are pretty significant, and they definitely contribute to ROI. First off, just enhance reliability and performance.
Fewer errors works better.
Exactly. More consistent operation, you can fix issues faster, optimize performance. That leads directly to higher success rates for whatever the agent is doing.
Okay.
And related to that, faster issue resolution. Because you have all that observability data.
Find the root cause faster.
Much faster, less downtime, lower costs associated with problems.
That 40% reduction in redundancy we talked about, that's a direct efficiency gain.
Absolutely. Pure efficiency. And that ties into increased trust and adoption of AI.
Ah, okay. How so?
Well, when people in the organization see that these agents are managed properly, they're monitored, you can audit them, they're more likely to trust them.
Right.
And that means they'll be willing to use them for more important tasks, leading to wider adoption and more value overall.
Makes sense.
Efficiency and cost savings are also huge. Better use of resources, less need for humans to constantly babysit the agents, fewer errors. It all adds up.
And presumably as you scale up, AgentOps becomes even more vital just to manage the complexity.
Totally. It gives you the infrastructure you need to actually deploy and manage lots of agents effectively across the business. It enables scaling, plus it ensures better alignment with business and compliance goals.
Avoiding fines and trouble.
Exactly. Avoiding penalties, protecting reputation. And longer term, it can create a real competitive advantage. Companies with well-managed AI agents can just process information faster, react to the market quicker.
You mentioned that customer support agent example earlier. Can you just quickly connect the dots again on the ROI there?
Sure. Think about an AI handling thousands of support queries. If AgentOps makes that AI just 10% more efficient or reduces its error rate significantly, the savings on human agent costs, or the cost of fixing errors, can be massive.
Right.
And preventing even one major compliance slip-up through good governance, the ROI on that is potentially huge. That 40% reduction case study is a perfect example of direct, measurable ROI from AgentOps. The core point is, AgentOps turns AI's potential into real, measurable business value.
So it's not just risk mitigation, it's also value maximization.
Exactly. It's the key to unlocking what these agents can really do by making sure they're efficient, reliable, and trusted. That's how you get business value at scale.
Okay, looking ahead now. Crystal ball time.
Yeah.
What does the future hold for AgentOps? What are some exciting possibilities?
Oh, there's some really interesting stuff on the horizon. One idea is self-monitoring and self-healing agents.
Agents fixing themselves?
Kind of, yeah. Agents with enough awareness metacognition to track their own performance and maybe even automatically correct course when things go wrong, or at least flag it for a human if they're stuck.
Wow.
We'll almost certainly see more standardized protocols and frameworks, common ways to structure AgentOps data, common processes that would make everything much more interoperable, easier to adopt.
Yeah, standards would help a lot.
Definitely. I think we'll also see a deeper integration of governance and operations. Governance checks just built right into the AgentOps pipeline automatically, maybe even leading to regulations requiring things like AI operations log.
AI governance 2.0, maybe?
Something like that.
Yeah.
And expect more advanced multi-agent collaboration management, tools that can handle swarms of agents, visualize how they interact, track the health of the whole system.
Managing the whole AI workforce.
Pretty much. We'll likely see convergence with related areas like RPA, robotic process automation, and BPM, business process management. Maybe unified platforms managing both simple bots and complex AI agents.
And what about the human side of things?
Better human-agent teaming interfaces. Tools specifically designed to help humans and AI agents work together smoothly. Maybe dashboards for supervisors to monitor and guide agent teams.
Right.
The regulatory landscape will keep evolving too. Things like the EU AI Act will definitely push for more robust AgentOps practices.
Regulation driving adoption.
Could be. We might even see AI-driven AgentOps using AI to analyze the logs from other AIs, spot anomalies, maybe even optimize their performance. Meta agents, if you will.
Whoa. AI managing AI.
Is a possibility. And finally, democratization. More low-code, no-code platforms building in AgentOps features, making it easier for more people to manage agents effectively. AgentOps as a service, maybe.
It really sounds like AgentOps is set to become this fundamental, deeply embedded layer in the whole AI stack.
I think that's exactly right. As agents get more autonomous and interconnected, having robust AgentOps won't just be nice. It'll be absolutely essential to get value and manage risk.
Okay, so wrapping this up. For our listener, maybe they're deploying agents now, maybe they're just starting to think about it.
Yeah.
What are the key strategic takeaways? What should they do?
Okay, some practical advice. First, build a cross-functional AgentOps team. You need AI people, ops people, security, business experts, all talking to each other.
Break down the silos.
Exactly. Start with pilot projects, learn by doing, but always design for scale right from the beginning. Don't build something you can't grow.
Think ahead.
Think ahead. Choose your tool chain carefully. Buy versus build. What integrates well with what you already have? Put effort into that decision. Implement robust governance and ethics reviews early. Don't bolt it on later. Make it part of the process. And prioritize transparency and explainability. People need to trust these things.
Build trust.
Build trust. Create feedback loops and continuous improvement cycles. Agents need to keep learning. Plan for organizational change and talent development. You'll need new skills, maybe new roles like agent operations lead.
Upskilling.
Definitely. Make security and privacy foundational. Day one considerations, not afterthoughts. Benchmark what you're doing. Stay informed. This field is moving incredibly fast.
Keep learning.
Keep learning. Scale thoughtfully. Have a long-term vision. Maybe aim for a single view of all your agent activity. Prepare for regulatory compliance. See it as a positive driver for good practices. And always, always consider the ethical and social impact.
That's a really solid list of recommendations. It highlights that AgentOps isn't trivial, but it's clearly crucial.
It is. It's the foundation for getting the huge potential value out of AI agents while keeping the risks under control.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive into AgentOps. I think the core message really comes through. If you're serious about using AI agents beyond just experiments, if you want scalable, reliable deployments, AgentOps isn't optional anymore.
It's essential.
It's essential. It's how you turn those cool AI projects into something that actually delivers value efficiently, builds trust, and manages the risks involved.
Couldn't agree more. And hopefully, for you listening, armed with this understanding, you feel better equipped now, whether you're evaluating tools, planning an implementation, or even just asking the right questions inside your organization.
Hmm.
This whole area should feel a bit less daunting and more like a strategic opportunity you can actually manage.
Absolutely. And maybe on that note, we'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. As we look towards a future where autonomous agents might handle a huge chunk of work in our organizations, what kind of operational foundation, what management layer will be as utterly critical then as AgentOps is clearly becoming right now?
Something to think about.
Definitely. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive.